you're going to see a very different type of interview, because that was my hallmark. I mean, I was Freak Daddy, right? I mean, if you came into my show, and it always happened, these dudes every time had their prepared questions for me, and I would tell them, I'm like, you can forget about that, because when you're on my show, the script is gone.
You are listening to The Soapbox. I'm Paul.
And I'm Eric.
This all started out with a list. What's that all about?
So I've compiled a list over the years of things that just bother me, things that grind my gears. And I shared that list with you.
And I thought, you know what? That would make interesting conversation. Sometimes I'm going to want to agree with you, and it's just going to be something we talk about. Other times, though, I'm going to want to steel man the opposite position, because I think that's just interesting conversation.
Yeah, and keep in mind, I'm always right, but Paul's just a really good debater.
Hey. All right. So I've already been recording here off the stream.
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay. Good.
But now we're officially recording, because I hit this big button on the soundboard. Leo Brown.
Yeah, back at it.
Welcome back to the Soapbox.
Yeah, thank you.
How have you been?
I've been good. It's been a little while. I've been working on a lot of stuff. I can't remember. I think I was talking about leaving the radio world the last time I was here, and, and kind of, you know, the disdain perhaps that I was feeling, and maybe a little angst of being fired, and all of that is gone, except that I still hate corporate radio.
Do you still do the streaming local music or Kentucky music?
So I was partnered. That project is still going. Yeah. I stepped away from it because it was kind of, it wasn't my skill set, really. You know what I mean? Like, it was a thing that, and I don't want to say it in any way that sounds derogatory. There's things that I need to do that require my attention, that are specific to my skill sets, that I knew I needed to focus on. And that's really what I'm doing now.
That's the idea. Chase two rabbits, catch none, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
for sure.
So my partner's still doing that. However, RadioKY.live is a thing. It's a platform, local streaming, local artists on there. And it's cool. It's awesome. It's just, I have a mission that has been decided for me.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit before I hit the big record button.
I want to hear what he's steaming on over there. I want to know. He disagrees with me. I can't wait. I want to hear.
We'll get there. We haven't set stage, though. So you're on a journey. This is what we know. You're on a journey.
Yeah. It's an awesome journey now.
You probably say it better than I do, but do you want to give me just maybe like a 1 minute recap on kind of where you are there?
Yeah, I mean, so what I said, I mean, all of this, I've been on this spiritual quest. I've prayed. I've been on pilgrimages. I have journeyed the world over, literally. This isn't any kind of me just being metaphorical. I've traveled. I've looked at cultures. I've experienced amazing things spiritually, and again, things that I can only describe as mystical. But it wasn't until I decided to go, okay, it's maybe not. I mean, think about it. The two greatest commandments, if you just want to boil it down and take our Western understanding of Christianity to heart, what are the two greatest commandments? What, Eric, what does Jesus say?
The two greatest commandments? I would think, thou shalt not kill.
Okay, well.
No, so that's the wrong one.
Yeah, you guys have no theology whatsoever. I'm at the wrong podcast. I'm at the wrong podcast.
No.
Okay,
you
so
just
Paul,
have to move right over
Paul,
here.
What are the two greatest? What's he say?
Christ says, love the Lord your God with all your strength, you know, heart and mind. And the second is like it, love your neighbor as yourself.
Yeah, right.
So hang on. What I said wasn't a commandment? Well, or just wasn't the greatest?
I mean, it's not the answer, because Jesus basically says after the 10 Commandments, right?
So you asked me the greatest commandments, not the answer?
Well, I mean, if you know Scripture, you understand what I'm saying. So it was contextual. So Paul got it. Paul got the ding.
Yeah.
Paul got the answer right. No, but here's what it says.
I mean, not killing's probably
it's a good one. It's a good one, Eric. It's important.
It goes on to say that all other commandments are basically encapsulated.
Because if you truly love God and truly love yourself, you're not going to kill anybody anyway, right? You would never. Yeah, that would not be something you have to worry about.
But in the secular world, though, if you have no understanding of God, thou shalt not kill is a really good source of morality.
Without question.
I mean, it's a good starting point.
It's an important one.
Yeah. I guess I would have put it in the great category because I think it transcends religion
I get it.
in a
way.
Okay.
Loving other people. You get to shoehorn that one in there.
Yeah, I guess
if you're loving people, you're not killing them. Unless Eric, I love you so much.
I love you to death.
It's a mercy killing.
Then you can get semantics. So.
Apparently, there used to be a law, and I don't know if it's still in the books in certain places in eastern Kentucky, the bastard needed killing law. So basically, if somebody was such a nasty character that finally somebody offed him, Everybody kind of just looked the other way, even in court, from what I gather. But who knows? But here's
Can
the
we
thing.
bring that one back, by the way?
Yeah, maybe. but here's for real what I've discovered and where I'm going with this and why this project is what it is. It's become this through me submitting myself to going, okay, I am going to truly wish upon this star. I'm going to put myself in the position of that star. And as I do this, I'm going to let my heart's desire be known to the universe, to the powers that be, to the God that is, whomever, right? And by doing that, because these intentions truly are that pure, that will come to me, right? And then as I'm doing this and actively making this a prayer of sorts, and realizing that when I say I'm the star, I'm not like, so I can be the next Elvis Presley or the next Taylor Swift or somebody that can't go shopping by themselves. That's not what I mean. What I mean by a star, what does a star do? A star illuminates the galaxy, right? It illuminates the other planets around them. It's a gravitational pull, a force that is doing something in alignment with the powers of the universe, so much in fact that it's illuminative now, right? It's brightened its surroundings. So I'm crazy enough to think that I can do that on a community level through media, right? Mm-hmm. So I think if we really take this understanding that a community is a place where we find forgiveness, right? Where we ask for forgiveness and we give forgiveness. A community is a place where we experience love and we show and give love, right? A community is a place where we have a tremendous amount of gratitude and grace for all of those things that are a part of who we are a part of within that community. You know, and when we exalt and when we illuminate, for lack of a better way of presenting this, you know, if you can be the star that shines the light in those areas, well, my God, I mean, that's, yeah, right? Isn't that what we can do? And media was initially formed for that purpose, and that's why it was regulated governmentally and all the things we've talked about before. I think the last time with the restrictions and the interesting things that happened in corporate radio over the years. But nonetheless, that was the initial intent, even though it had to be regulated because of its very nature. Now we're in this wild, wild west, but what if we kind of focus this wild, wild west into a very civil, a very loving and nurturing community? I think we can do that.
Yep.
And, you know, that's how crazy I am.
That sort of makes me think of our church's mission statement, which is here, near, and far. Mm. And it's a recognition.
Which church is this?
So this is Catalyst Christian Church in Nicholasville, Kentucky.
Okay.
And the
you
mindset,
have your, is it, I'm sorry to stop, but is it an independent church, or do you have another, are you with a network of other churches?
It's an independent Christian church
okay.
within the Protestant movement.
Okay.
If it had a family tie, probably Broadway Christian Church would be considered grandfather. Okay. And then we don't talk about Mother Church anymore because it went defunct.
Of course, you guys don't even believe it ever existed. You don't even know that there was a century past the 20th.
Oh, we're not talking about the Catholics. No, we're talking about another local thing.
Oh, okay.
Southland.
I think we're going to get
Southland.
Not Southland.
Southland. Southland's also a child of Broadway.
You're talking about Quest. A Quest.
Not Quest either. No, Southern Acres. Southern Acres had a new pastor that came in. He did a bunch of political stuff, power grab. Just not a good guy. Well, and then the whole church ended up imploding.
There's been a lot of nasty players over the years who've ruined for the rest. So anyway, so back to, I didn't mean to disrupt you.
Here, near, and far.
Here, near, and far.
Notion that there are three responsibilities that you have to the world. You have responsibilities to your community, you have responsibilities to your nation, and then you have responsibilities globally. And so for us, what that looks like, the here portion would be like addiction recovery, maybe getting turkeys for families that have need, whatever. The near would be when there's a flood in eastern Kentucky, we might send a team out, we might send funds to help with flood recovery, that sort of thing. And then far, we've got support for, and actually have started orphanages and schools in India and Nepal.
That's awesome.
And so, I think what you're talking about is the community, right? The local.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to, especially commercial radio, where everything is consolidating and everything is becoming iHeartMedia.
Yeah.
There is no local anymore.
There's no colloquial, right? And that's the unfortunate. And so that's what I believe this can do. And yes, ideally it can inspire mission. It can inspire who knows what. All I know is there's an opportunity now like never before if we bring these forces together. And that's what I'm looking at big names and big individuals from the media world of Lexington, that are household names that are unfortunately out of work because of consolidation, because of the limitations that are out there.
There have been some big ones in the last couple of weeks.
Oh,
dude.
yeah. And you know what? I've been sitting there going, hey, what's up, y'all? Because I know them all, right? So. And I've got a soft place for them to land. And that's what's beautiful about this. And, here's the other thing. I am not taking, and forgive me for taking such a hardline stance on this, I am not taking a single advertising dollar from any business. I refuse to align myself because I don't care. I do not care what that business says, who they think they are, what their values may be. My value is not in the marketplace.
Right.
It's not.
So you're standing against the algorithm, which is monetization,
right?
Which is you want views, like you talked about when you first got here. We get maybe 3,000 views on a YouTube video. Yeah. They're not necessarily local people,
right?
And
they don't have to be.
Mostly not.
And they don't. And that's okay. Yeah. And where your audience comes from is less important than what you're doing with the content around the community that you're in, right? Yeah, right? So I always use this example because it's usually familiar enough with most people that they get it. When I was in high school, I did a play with the community theater. So I worked with older actors when I was younger. It was a great experience because I was on that track for a long time, right? I thought I was going to be on Broadway. I thought I was going to be that dude. And a Hugh Jackman, basically, is, because, let's be honest, I could easily play an action hero. Come on.
You're only saying what we're already thinking.
Come on, right? I mean, look at this. Look at this package. It's just waiting for Marvel. So as a Hugh Jackman singer-dancer, that's where I thought it was going. But anyway, I did this show called Man of La Mancha, and it's a big, famous musical based on Don Quixote, the story of Don Quixote. Most people know this story. It was set in the Spanish Inquisition. It was a very interesting political commentary throughout the entire musical, and it became a huge hit in the 70s, 80s, maybe on Broadway. And so much that, Dream, the Impossible Dream, that song was like a big thing from it. And Robert Goulet had a hit with it, all of that stuff. So, but basically there's this universal theme and this message that goes through this beautiful characterization of these. You understand. There's this dual characterization that's going on. It's hard for actors to play these roles well, because she's a prostitute, but yet she's this, princess, and all of this kind of, there's fantasy in this thing in this world, but eventually it comes out with this universal message of hope and this universal message of standing true to your values and what you believe. That is set in this tiny little town, right? In this tiny little community, at this very specific point in history, where you can't really modernize this play. You can't put it in a different setting. Nothing else really works.
It needs its context.
It's got to have that.
Yeah.
But yet, regardless of when you perform it, where you perform it, that context is so secondary to the ultimate story, you forget everything but the ultimate story. But it can't tell the story without that context.
Yeah. Do you feel like, and this is touching on what you were talking about with the algorithmic kind of just nature of streaming, the nature of podcasting, the nature of producing content in 2026. Do you feel like we're lacking a local context for communication?
There is none. Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah, it's void. It's a horrible void. And here's what I've discovered, and this is why this is beautiful, because what I'm bringing to the table is, look, Noise for Hope, this is community content. This is for our community, by our community. My platforms are $5 a month, $10 a month. They're the same. You get the same thing. There's no paywall. There's no nothing. It's like, which one can you afford? We don't care. Help us out on one of those levels. We prefer the 10. I'm going to be straight up. We prefer the 10, but whatever you can afford. But here's the thing. I'm not taking big donor checks either, because I've been in that world, and I promise you, There's an expectation behind every one of those donors. If I'm getting $10 a month from you and you set it and forget it, and that's how you roll with us and that's how we're supported, you know what? Great. If I get 10,000 of y'all, great. I'm moving,
So
you know?
I'm coming into this a little cold.
Yeah.
I've heard Noise for Hope.
Yeah.
But in terms of the actual structure, is this functionally like a local version of Patreon?
So it's kind of like Patreon, it's kind of like Substack, it's kind of like these other things that are out there, but it's very different in one specific fashion, and that is theoretically or philosophically, it's aligned, right? Because it's local, it's Lexington. Ideally, it can be Central Kentucky, but you know, I like the idea of it being within a neighborhood. I like the idea of with it being, you know, close enough that it's something that we can all relate to, where we can talk about things that make sense to us, both as a community and as a humanity, right? I mean, all of this is something that I think will come from this because I'm bringing in great storytellers. I'm bringing in people with years of experience in media and in publishing and writing and performing, and you name it. All of this is coming to play with this community, this sub community that I am of the talent and the creators, the content creators, and you know. So I'm having a beautiful time now curating that portion to the point that, you know, when this philosophy is aligned, when everything is completely the way it is, there will be nothing like it anywhere. I mean, it's going to have its own unique ecosystem, and it's going to, if we, let's say, just who knows, maybe we love this concept so much that we want to expand it and take it to another community. The DNA remains the same.
Yeah. And
we find a new cast of characters who are willing to align within that corporate DNA, if you will, even though it's nonprofit. There's still a mindset of this is what we do and this is how we do. If you know Seth Godin, anything about this business leader guru, he wrote Lynchpin, he wrote Purple Cow, he's written a lot of big business books. He always talks about this is how you organize anything, whether it's a nonprofit or a business. You just have to understand that we are a people who do things this way all the time.
If you were to draw a geofence around that word community, what does that look like for you? Is that Kentucky? Central Kentucky,
I mean, you know,
Lexington?
in this case, I think it's a little smaller, right? I mean, it has to be. I think it's a region. I think that, you know, I travel for my day job inside and outside of the Central Kentucky Bluegrass region all the time. And I will tell you, there's a distinctive difference between Eastern Kentucky and Central Kentucky.
Yes.
There's a distinctive difference between Western Kentucky and Eastern Kentucky. And, you know, these are regional areas. We're all Kentuckians. I mean, my God, you want to talk about a total distinctive, where my wife is from, up at Park Hills, they don't even claim Kentucky.
Yep.
And they make it very, 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 every time particular Northern Kentucky, and they're going to say, "Oh, I'm from Northern Kentucky,"
Or
and
they'll just say Cincinnati and lie
or
to you.
sometimes they'll do that. Yeah,
Yep.
they won't even claim Kentucky at all.
Our
But-
airport is called the Cincinnati
Oh,
Airport.
of course, yeah,
and
even though
it's in Kentucky.
in Kentucky, of course, yeah. So, but I think, you know, that answers the question. There's always these areas that you know, and it kind of, in a weird sort of way, mimics the broadcast signals of yesteryear, if you will, right? Because
I love that.
Yeah, because, you know, there was a usually about a 60-mile radius max, and that is if you had a really good signal. You know, you're probably tighter than that, quite honestly, and that was one of the reasons. That was a selling point of, you know, we're so close to the community and we're right here, but you can't even claim that anymore with content.
I love this so much because I've heard it said, and I wish I could put a finger on the source of this. It's been a while since I've heard this idea. I know your father-in-law, George, has talked about this a little bit too, but human beings are largely tribal in nature.
Oh, yeah.
We are not designed for a community larger than about 200 individuals.
Right.
Once it starts to exceed that number,
Yep.
we have a breakdown of the social fabric.
Yep.
And so we've got a whole bunch of folks that have a lot of external stress from things they never would have encountered 100 years ago.
Right.
Just simply because of how information moves. Take a
Exactly.
shot.
And we're making them all take shots too, so it makes sense. But that's part of our community right here, though.
That's
right?
true. The hospital community.
Well, you know, and again, all of these global issues are local issues, right? And all these local issues are global issues. And what I want to do is provide a platform where there's a free and open exchange of conversation, ideas. One of the concepts, and I'll say it right now, that in addition to the podcast platforming of this nature, we're also going to be doing some docu-series and episodic sort of programming as well. So this is all video, and we're going to have an opportunity to do some really cool exploration. And right now on the as we're storyboarding this series, it's going to look at communities again, because it's my focus, but it's going to look at it from a very different angle, where we go into tiny Eastern Kentucky or Western Kentucky, truly across the state, towns, and look at these opposing camps, right? There's always opposing camps, right? They're always there.
So the Hatfield versus the McCoy kind of situation?
Or the drag queen versus the conservative minister.
Interesting.
Right? But here's how we look at it. So I sit down, and this is episodic, so this is going to unfold over the course of probably 6 or 8 episodes, all in about an hour package, okay? But this is also a docu-series, so it's almost like a Dateline kind of examination into this community, right? But we go in and we interview and we talk and we do this. And then we have a University of Kentucky statistics professor look at all of the information that we have gathered based on the value structures of these organizations or of these individuals. And then we boil it down and we look, and what I'm trusting, because I believe this, is we're going to be very hard-pressed to determine a difference between these individuals on paper.
In terms of how they think about the world?
Yeah, and if their values, right? What's important to them? What's ultimately important? What do you believe? The expression, the outward expression is unfortunately what is blocking an understanding of the true community that can be there, and the values that we all truly share alike. Now, what if that expression, rather than you getting so bent out of shape about something you disagree with, how about you just try to accept it?
It's hard to say take a shot when he's making a really good point,
know,
but
yeah.
it's part of our thing. Actually, a really good point to that, too, would be if you look at their political leanings, they're going to look very different there, too. But you're getting to the source of it. Like, what do they really care about? What are their values?
You're sort of describing horseshoe theory, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that is. I don't know what that is.
Horseshoe theory is the idea that we think of politics as a spectrum where there's a far right and there's a far left.
Right.
A lot of focus towards the center, but actually that's more of a horseshoe, because what ends up happening is there's a close proximity of alignment with the mechanisms for how people think about the world, how they think about how other people should think about the world, and how they choose to engage with other people.
Right.
And when you get to somebody that's on the far right versus somebody that's on the far left, while they would view themselves as diametrically opposed, they're actually closer to each other in terms of what they find to be socially acceptable.
Right, because they're both crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's just a really polite way of saying, you're crazy.
Yeah, for real. And I think that's what we're going to see. And what I want to do, and this is episodic programming. It's series programming. So, it's going to be predictable. I mean, that's the weird thing about it, right? People want the predictability of that episode ending the way they expect it to end. This is why everybody watched Jerry Springer back in the day, or any of the Judge Judy or whatever. It was all because you knew how it was going to end and what they were going to get. They were going to come out the way it was. So it's all going to come out the same. And we're going to come down to realizing, oh my God, look at this. We really are the same. But I'm hoping, aside from the entertainment value, which I intend to make very, and that's what I'm focusing on, because we're going to get characters. We're going to get incredibly beautiful characters out of this, and not exploitively, just organically, and from this opportunity to show the dignity of even the people that you disagree with. I look so forward to doing that, because I don't care. I'm not going to hate you for what you believe. I don't care what you can hate me. I don't care. I'm not going to hate you. I'm not going to respond. Will not respond with that. So when you see me in an interview talking to someone that I disagree with vehemently, it's going
to be done respectfully.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah. And comically, and I'm going to give them a fair amount of shit along the way, and we're going to develop a relationship, and it's going to be fun. And you're going to see a very different type of interview, because that was my hallmark. I mean, I was Freak Daddy, right? I mean, if you came into my show, and it always happened, these dudes every time had their prepared questions for me, and I would tell them, I'm like, you can forget about that.
Yeah.
Because when you're on my show, the script is gone. Okay. Now I'm going to let you promote, and I'm going to give you fair opportunity. And I promise it will be a memorable experience for you and for my audience. but you can forget about your questions. I just want you to know that. Yep. And that we would
Guess I
talk.
better cross these off.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of prepared questions, have you written some down?
I
have
do
a
have
couple.
some. Yeah.
All right, and I'm so tight for time, but I want to answer your question.
Yeah,
so
let's do rapid fire here, so we can respect your time.
Okay. And I don't think I brought this up with Paul too, so you can respond after. Is it a good idea to teach kids that snitches get stitches? Is this a good?
Well, so I think there's a fine, and I'm the world's worst authority on parenting. Please, even though I got a bunch of kids, it doesn't mean I got any insight. But I do believe that there's a time and a place where information accessibility needs to remain confidential, and your children need to understand that there are only trusted sources, and there are places where that information can be shared. And there are times that, when sometimes not telling the truth is completely acceptable, because it's a matter of judgment on the ethic of the situation, and situational ethics are as varied as situations. So that's my answer. That's
a great answer, except the fact that if you're teaching this to a young child, I'm not gonna trust that they're gonna have that nuance.
Well, again, that's another level. I think what we want to do with children is to instill truthful telling from them, yes, and somehow reward and have consequences and removal of privileges or things of that nature to keep them on track. Yeah, but the what was Stitches? Yeah, I don't think we need to go that extreme.
Well, I don't reaction for you.
First of all, take a shot.
Yeah, of course.
Man, people are. I hope it's kombucha or something. Or they're going to be just tanked. I've navigated this a little bit with my kids. My daughter is one that has not the you're describing the deontological worldview of judging every single action based upon its morality. She has a more utilitarian approach to the ends justify the means.
Sure.
And so she's willing to have the uncomfortable conversation to make right in the world because she has a very strong moral compass.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
And she's
How old is she?
11.
Oh well, yeah, that's great.
And I've had to let her know, like, listen, you don't always have to interject yourself into a situation.
Yeah.
You can be a casual observer because at the end of the day, not your circus, not your monkeys, right? You got to decide if this.
Wow, so she'll just jump into conversations even at times?
If she's aware of like a thing happening at school and she's not a part of it, but it's wrong, she's either going to say, hey, stop.
Wow.
Or she's going to go let somebody know. Listen, that's not going to pan out well for you. That's not a good long-term strategy.
Yeah.
So, as far as that's
again, that's a tough part. I mean, it's just there's so much nuance within that, and no, children don't necessarily understand that.
Yeah.
So,
And I don't want to repress her desire to do good in the world. So we just have to kind of talk about like cost-benefit analysis.
So how about a better question? How about one that I can answer better?
Okay. Do you have one?
Well, I was going to go back to your. Let me hit you with three here real quick, all related to your platform, and then I think you were going to talk about toxic masculinity.
I'm done with that. Yeah, we don't have time.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe we'll have to have you back on.
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
Number one, you know about the WinZip pricing?
WinZip pricing? No, what is this?
This is an online meme for those that are part of the old guard in technology.
Okay.
WinZip is an application that unzips a zip file.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it's always been an unlimited trial period. And then you can buy it if you want to, but there's never going to be any enforcement should you choose not to buy it. They don't lock it down.
I got some of those programs.
Yeah, so
a long time. Yeah.
Are we talking the WinZip pricing of pay when you want what you want? Is that kind of how you're thinking about things?
Yeah, because everything's going to be accessible, right? So there's always an accessibility. So this is what I'm trusting based on what I've done before. So when I literally abandoned a career that was beginning to really start to gain traction, and I could see it skyrocketing quickly with what we were doing with the network I was with and the content we were doing and all that was. Again, I've been very fortunate to be able to find myself in odd situations that I make the most of, right? So even though I ended up losing a morning show and I went to an evening time slot, I thought, well, what if we do morning type radio in the evening? Well, wouldn't that be interesting? Because nobody was doing it. It was a wide open market. And I caught attention and I caught the interest of advertisers, that's how the grease got on the wheels, right? So I'm like, now we're getting somewhere, right? Now we're getting somewhere. So, and I had this opportunity to build this with the network I was with at the time, and I chose based on a very almost indescribable decision to go and run a Catholic radio station for 12 years. And so by abandoning that at the time and taking the path that I took, I was educated in ways that I never imagined, and certainly in ways that I never would have gotten before, because I have colleagues who didn't take that path, right? Who stayed the course and did whatever they did, and they do not have the skills that I have, simply because I was in a mode of survival for the first, the Peter principle when I'm there going, now what do I do? I mean, I'm 33 years old, and I got no experience as a general manager. What is this? So I had to just educate myself. I read a lot. I went to seminars. I did a bunch of stuff. And I just stayed open to this experience, and I grew with it and through it. And now it's provided me the opportunity to go, oh, everybody's telling people now. They're out there on the street. They've got huge names. They've been in media forever. They're like, you should do a podcast. And they're like, okay. And they don't even know what that means.
Right.
Really.
And I think you can put a podcast out on your phone.
Sure. Yeah.
And a lot of people do.
Right.
But there are two parts to podcasting. Part one is make the content, but part two, the part nobody sees, is what do you do with it when you've got it in the can?
Yes.
And that's the part where I think you're bringing a lot of value.
Right. Well, and so what I'm bringing to the table is value in two places. One is I'm saying, so I worked with a company called J-Core for about 5 minutes. It was just the quickest ownership we had in radio. And we sold the company that we were with. It was Village Communications. J-Core bought us, and then within no time, I think the negotiations had already been underway. There's no way it would have been this quick. They got consumed by Clear Channel, right? Bam, just like that. But J-Core, in this beautiful moment of ownership that we had, their motto was, your bat, your ball, your butt. And I'm like, I've been waiting for somebody like this, because they were, the guy, Randy Michaels, who ran the place, was a jock, right? He started as a talent, and he understood that side, because generally in radio, there's the division between sales and programming, and 99.9% of GMs came from the sales side because they knew how to make money.
So the constant fear is the very thing you're bucking the trend against, which is you're not beholden to the advertiser.
Yeah, screw that, right?
Yeah.
That's gone. That element's gone. But all we're asking for is, if you like this, it's free. Of course, it's always out there. The content you can consume, it's YouTube. Just go into YouTube.
But if you like it and you can, support it.
That's right. And
now,
then you get paid.
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
Well, we should stop and thank our sponsor, Clear Channel, for. We'll scrub that.
No, we're not thanking Clear Channel. Forget that. So
I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Clear Channel. So, in a way, I should thank them, because that's the thing. Every time that I've had, and here's the thing, I realize I've had amazing opportunities. I've had things that fell into my lap that, I dreamt about them. I did. I was working toward it. I was manifesting these things. But, the things that have come true for me have just been so amazing. And even when it didn't end well, even when, it ran its course, or things got sideways, or new owners came in, or whatever, I value everything that I've experienced, because, there was this Noise for Hope is going to be incredibly awesome and just amazingly off the charts, because I'm bringing 40 years of experience to it.
Absolutely. I think your whole career pathway, if I were to try to just sum it up with one word, I probably would pick the word perseverance. Yeah. One of the things that I've thought a lot about over the years is, every time I've lost something profoundly, I can either get down on the loss, or I can say, that's the cost of an education.
That's right. That's right.
What did I learn from this, and how am I going to apply that to situations within the future? And it sounds like you're doing a phenomenal job with that. I was going to ask, if you can, and I don't know if you will, but I'll put you on the spot here. Are you willing to name drop folks that are already signed on?
Well, so I would, but they're not signed on yet. So here's where we are. I will tell you this.
Joe Rogan.
That's right. Yeah. There are household names in the market without question. So, when it comes to already building a community, they have a community built around them. So, that's what's beautiful about this. That's why this is going to exponentiate just immediately. So I will tell you, we are shooting for October. We want to launch in Q4 for a reason. And I tell everybody this, I'm like, if you will come on board with me and you're willing to do this, and we can launch this in Q4, which is the most difficult quarter to do any real work.
Because there's so much noise.
There's so much noise.
Yeah.
And if we can get through that, and if we can keep our heads down and focused and buckle this where we're doing weekly content through the fourth quarter, you tough that out, that 90 days, you're sticking with this. I'm confident, right? And we're also launching at a time when we're asking for donations of support when everybody is strapped, okay? So the two things that we're going to do is boot camp ourselves through this by staying focused enough to keep content rolling consistently and watch a very slow trickle of donations come in. But you know what? If we can do it for the process, because this is what I've got to have as well, I love the process more than the product of anything that I do, right? I love the entire element of being in the studio and producing and putting all the pieces together. And, I mean, that's just, I'm recording this week as we speak in a music studio. And, this process just captivates me. And, if you love that and you really enjoy this, then you're going to tough it out. You're going to do it. But that's what's beautiful is I'm bringing veterans on who understand that already,
Yeah.
And so I don't think that we're going to have any challenges with that. It's the only thing I got to do is wrap all of this around, get my arms around it, be like, okay, we got it. But, my CPA's on it, my attorney's on it, all of that stuff is happening. So, I mean, it's not me like, I think I'll do a podcast. You want to come do it? Yeah, it's an organization. It's a thing. I feel
like you could do a whole podcast just as that character.
Yes.
He shows up every now and then, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy has made some decisions in my life as well. I have one last question.
Okay.
And then I think
I'm sorry, I got to
pressed
run
for time. But
yes.
How do people find? How do
noiseforhope.org right now. That's it. That site's developing. It's going in different directions. There is a Noise for Hope YouTube. It's got very little content. I've just been testing. So what I've been doing for 6 months is testing platforming. I thought I had it, and then I realized, well, that's not going to work, and I had a computer fail. So this has been like any startup. I mean, I studied with Tony Robbins through his organization, not personally with him. I didn't walk the fire. I didn't do all that, but I paid a bunch of money and I got one of his coaches. And I studied with this guy for 6 weeks, and we did exercises and we did this, business coaching thing. And it was all about how does Tony, and it was 40 hours of DVDs that I had to watch, and then meet with a coach and go over and be quizzed. And it was just crazy. But the one thing that Tony was all about is that, no idea is a bad idea, right? No idea is a bad idea. Get the ideas, get them out, get every one of them. I don't care what they are. You don't know until you put action behind them what's going to happen and what's not. The idea that you thought was the stupidest idea, the last thing you ever wanted to do, may be the golden idea. You just got to put the action. So his whole thing is put them all out there, action, 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 action. 90% of them are going to fall away. Where's the gold? And that's what I did.
Well, so we're starting to see that. We had an episode on PlayStation, and out of nowhere, it was like 27,000.
Oh, that's awesome!
Like,
yeah,
okay, maybe we need to be a video game podcast.
Whatever, right? I mean, yeah, you never know. You never know.
We just keep making what we like.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, do you have any final
questions? No, I really love that enjoying the process, because I think that's one thing Paul and I talk about a lot. We might not even have a topic while we're walking over here across the street.
Because we like the process.
We just like the process. And we know they're not all going to be bangers. But I'd say there are very few that I'm
like today's. I mean, it's not a banger.
Today's awesome.
It's a disappointment.
Leo
Let's be
Brown
honest.
in the studio. I'm excited. I'm trying not to fanboy as much as I did last time. But
you guys are great. I appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you doing it.
So noiseforhope.org. Check it out. If you haven't done your charitable giving budget for the year, consider throwing a few bucks.
No more than 10. I won't accept it.
No less than 10. No more than 10.
No more than 10.
No more than 10.
No, $10 is
You're crazy.
You can't donate more than $10. Now I will say
crazy.
I will say this: if you wanted to give me more than $10 and you wanted to say this is in honor of this, this, and this, and this,
okay.
But I'm not looking for big donors. It's not going to happen.
Could you pay for other subscribers?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, but everything's free, so it doesn't really matter. You're just doing it. But if you wanted to say, hey, I got 10 people in my family, and here's $100 a month, whatever. I'm not going to say no to that, but you have to fill that in because I'm not going to give you the option. It's going to be 5 or 10. What is it? I'm not asking for much here. Here's what I know. I took a radio station that had almost no listeners and even fewer donors to a station that had a blip in the market in ratings even, and had 5,000 plus donors by the time I left.
That's
right?
Fantastic.
So,
So it's about making it reachable and not making people feel excluded
Of
because
course.
they can't be that
of
top
course.
dollar donor.
Yes. And again, I've been in those situations even in the Catholic radio world where, the bigger donors, they expect something. And I don't want anybody to expect anything from this except commitment and ethic and focus on the local Lexington community. That's
I like it. I'll revise my statement. I said crazy. I'll say crazy like a fox.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I appreciate it. You guys are
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thank you.